Welcome to the chart. Market mechanics. Market mechanics is a unique hybrid trading strategy that utilizes technical and fundamental constants to generate accurate trading signals. Power of 3 AMD chronological order. On Fridays we have the accumulation phase. On Mondays we have the manipulation phase. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays we have the distribution phase. Therefore, we do not trade on Fridays and Mondays as these are the accumulation and manipulation phase of the market. Power of 3 AMD chronological order. The Asian session is the accumulation phase, the London session is the manipulation phase, and the New York session is the distribution phase. So we do not trade the Asian session as this is the accumulation phase, but we are allowed to trade the London session since it sometimes overlaps with the New York session. Power of 3 candlestick pattern order. Unique candlestick reveal mass psychology that symbolizes the power of 3, the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Below are the images of the candlestick showcasing the mass psychology and movement of the market. We have the bullish and the bearish candlestick patterns. Liquidity and trap zones. All the market concerns about is liquidity and nothing else. Liquidity is basically points in the chart where majority of orders are pending to be filled. Thus, liquidity is the energy of the market. Without liquidity, the market will not move. These zones are as follows: yearly high and low, monthly high and low, weekly high and low, daily high and low, swing high and low. Welcome to the chart. So as we are aware of, in the market mechanics, otherwise known as the liquidity providers concept, we look out for zones that offer the best opportunities to buy or sell. We look out for zones that offer the best and highest risk to reward. These zones also offer the best low risk per trade. In $1 trillion market and $8 trillion market, how do we get our lot and share from this market? So I'm very sure that's why we are all gathered here. Let us take less than a minute to explain candlesticks. As you can see, price consolidating around this area and printing out a cluster of white candles. These white candles, they signify selling pressure. Meanwhile, on the other hand, as you can see, price rallying up, creating a series of higher highs and lower highs and higher highs, as well as a cluster of green candles. These green candles signify buying pressure. Meanwhile, a candle like this candle, let us mark it out in a red box. Let us mark it out in a red box. This candle right here, that is neither green nor white, this signifies indecision in the market. This means that at this particular point in time, there is an equilibrium of buyers and sellers in the market. So liquidity and trap zones. These zones are the swing highs and lows, daily highs and lows, weekly highs and lows, monthly highs and lows, quarterly highs and lows, as well as yearly highs and lows. So right here on BTC USD, we can see the first half of the Asian session. We can see the buyers attempting to create dominance. However, power shifts to the sellers in the second half, and the sellers manipulate more buyers to take position. And now we expect this structure right here to be broken down. We expect the fair value gaps right here to be filled, so we can conclude that the BTC is going to weaken and sell further down. On DXY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers pushing price up, and the second half you can see the buyers impulsively trying to push price up and break the high of yesterday. Following from this, what do we expect? We need to keep one concept in mind: the market buys to sell and the market sells to buy. Why does the market do this? The market does this because forex trading is a zero-sum game. For some to make money, others have to lose money. So for the sellers to make money, they need to take money away from the buyers in this zone. As well, if it was the buyers that want to make money, just as the buyers made money here, they need to take money away from the sellers in this zone. So right here in insights, we anticipate that the sellers are attempting and charging and loading their accounts ready to tussle the game and rumble and take money away from buyers. However, for them to do this, they need to induce more buyers to the upside, grab liquidity. Then this structure right here has to be broken down with one or two candles that close as sell candles. This structure here has to be broken. Then we can conclude that the DXY is going to rally further down. On silver right here, do the analysis of silver on your own. On GJ, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers playing a very good game, breaking the high of yesterday, and the second half we can see the buyers pushing price further up. However, following from this, still we expect a buy to sell, so we expect a buy side liquidity for a sell. So if that is going to play out, the sellers are going to induce more buyers to take position to the upside, close the candle down as a bearish candle, then break this structure further down, break the low of the day, break the low of yesterday. Then we can conclude that the Great Britain pound will weaken against the Japanese yen. On gold, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers attempting to play a good game, and they broke the high of yesterday, lightly grabbing liquidity. However, this is not a healthy liquidity grab, and the second half you can see the sellers pushing price down, attempting to raid the low of the day. However, following from this, we expect a sell to buy, so we expect the low of the day to be raided to induce more sellers. Then the buyers should shift the momentum up, break the structure here, and ride gold further up, as gold already is in a all-time high. But just because a pair is in an uptrend, it doesn't mean the trend will stop. The trend could always continue to rally further up. On Euro JPY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers making a good move, breaking the high of yesterday, grabbing liquidity. However, this is not a healthy liquidity grab, and the second half we can see the buyers pushing price further up, grabbing the liquidity as well, not a healthy liquidity grab. Following from this, we expect a buy to sell, and for that to occur, more buyers need to be induced to the upside. The sellers will load their accounts, go against the buyers, place bulk of orders, rate price down, break the low of the day, break the low of yesterday. Then we can conclude that the euro will weaken further down. However, this support right here is not healthy, so we should not expect it to hold. Just because you see the market printing out buy candles doesn't mean you should just start buying. You need to have a rationale and a mode of operation to either buy or sell at all times in the market in a structured manner. On USD CAD, at the opening of the Asian session, you can see the buyers attempting to make a good move. However, they failed to break the high of yesterday, and the second half you can see the buyers living up to expectation. However, following from this, we expect the high of the day to be broken to induce more buyers, this structure to break down as a bearish candle, break the low of the day, and for US dollar to weaken against the Canadian dollar. Further down, NZD USD, do this analysis on your own. On AUD USD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers attempting to create momentum, but however they barely consolidate, and the second half they also consolidate around the opening of the Asian session. Following from this, we are seeing a buy side liquidity for a sell, so we expect the high of the day to be broken to induce more buyers, for price to push down, break the low of the day, break the low of yesterday. Then we can conclude that the Aussie will weaken against the US dollar. On USD CNH, right here at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers making a good move, and the second half you can see the sellers right here pushing price down, manipulating the buyers, and playing a picture perfect textbook example AMD. So we expect price to impulsively move down, break the low of yesterday, break the structure further down, then rally further down. On USD CNH, GBP USD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the sellers in this range here, and the second half the sellers continue to push price down. Following from this, we expect a sell to buy. For a sell to buy to occur, the low of the day has to be raided to induce more sellers. Then we expect the structure to be broken up by the buyers, but the buyers to create momentum, push price up and continue the bull run further up to grab liquidity and push price further up. On Euro USD, it has a similar pattern to GBP USD. You need to know that Euro USD, GBP USD, AUD USD, these are correlation pairs. Correlation pairs are like siblings. They move together in a similar manner. They have similar personalities, and most of the time their directions influence one another. On Euro USD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the sellers pushing price down. However, they failed to break the low of yesterday. And the second half, you can see the sellers pushing price further down, attempting to grab liquidity of the low of yesterday. And for that to happen, here we expect a sell to buy. So the buyers need to push price down, grab liquidity, stop out these buyers from yesterday. After stopping them out, price goes in reverse, push further up, breaks the high of today, breaks the high of yesterday, then we can expect the euro to tank further up. The market is always moving from one liquidity zone to another, as this is why the forex market is still in existence today. Without liquidity, there would be no balance in the market. On AUD/JPY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers pushing price up, and the second half, you can see the buyers pushing price further up, breaking the high of yesterday. However, right here, we can see a grab of liquidity from a swing. That's if you go to the lower time frame. However, this is not a healthy liquidity grab. Following from this, we expect a buy to sell. For a buy to sell to occur, we expect the high to be raided to induce more buyers, this structure to be broken, the low of yesterday to be broken for price to tank further down. Then we can conclude that the Aussie will weaken against the Japanese yen. On USD CHF, we can see a picture perfect classic AMD playing now. There's an accumulation here, a manipulation and a distribution up. However, this is not a healthy liquidity grab. So if price retraces back here, in my opinion, I expect this support to be broken, and with this pattern right here, we expect a buy to sell. So we expect the high of the day to be raided, inducing more buyers, and this should close as a bearish candle. The low of the day to be broken, the low of yesterday to be broken, for price to continue to rally further down, and that would mean a weak US dollar against the Swiss franc. On USD JPY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can also see a picture perfect classic AMD. There is an accumulation, a manipulation and a distribution up. However, this is not a healthy support, this is not a healthy liquidity grab. So we expect the high of the day to be raided to induce more buyers, and the structure to be broken down with a bearish candle, a sell candle. The low of the day to be broken, structure to be broken further down. Then we can conclude a weaker US dollar against the Japanese yen. However, if reverse is the case, then price can do whatever it likes. Plan your trade, trade your plan, and most importantly, manage your risk and emotions. However, above all the technical and sentimental analysis done, fundamentally today is a Friday, so we do not trade. However, if you must trade, trade with caution. If you find this useful, like, share, subscribe and follow for more.